Originally, I had no intention of making this video. I was just in one of those indecisive moods, scrolling through my Switch homepage, unsure of what to play. Then I saw F-Zero 99 sitting right there and I thought, why not? I remember when this game launched a while back, but I never got around to playing it, mostly because I just felt disappointed. I'd consider myself a moderate F-Zero fan, especially of the Super Nintendo original. I always thought F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64 is a fun little game, and I've never owned GX on the GameCube, but apparently that one is pretty awesome. Anyway, I always believed that if smaller studios could put out incredible futuristic racers like Fast RMX, then Nintendo could do incredible things with a modern F-Zero. So when the series finally returned after years of dormancy, only to be a Nintendo Switch Online 99 game, I was skeptical. And honestly, out of sheer stubbornness, I never really gave it a fair shot. But I'm happy to admit that I was wrong, and F-Zero 99 is a blast. For those unfamiliar with the whole 99 retro game concept, it essentially turns classic titles like Tetris, Pac-Man, and now F-Zero into battle royale style experiences. Super Mario Bros. Was a part of the fun too, but that's a rant for a whole other day. Now you would think cramming 99 players into a single F-Zero race would be a recipe for total chaos. And well, I mean, it kind of is, but thanks to some surprisingly clever design choices, it works shockingly well. There are a couple of modes to keep this varied and exciting, starting off with our very basic 99 player mode. We get paired with our array of competitors, which by the way, the animation of them coming in is very satisfying to watch. Before the race starts, we get to choose between our 4 classic F-Zero machines, each with their own unique stats. Then players vote between 2 tracks, iconic courses like Big Blue, Mute City, Death Wind, and more. I do have one minor complaint though, and that's how many times Big Blue gets picked. The moment it shows up in the voting pool, you already know that's where you're racing. As for the actual racing experience, the visuals have been polished up beautifully. The pixel art is sharper, the game runs in widescreen, and honestly, it just looks really good. At its core, the controls are nearly identical to the Super Nintendo original, but there are a few key enhancements that really elevate the gameplay. One of the biggest additions is the yellow orbs that drop from machines when they take damage. Collect enough of these and you'll temporarily launch onto a secluded track above the main course. This is such a brilliant mechanic because it forces you to think strategically about when to use your boost, especially since gaps in the main track can extend your time on the upper road. In the original F-Zero, you had one boost that you could use with each lap that you completed, but here that works a little bit differently. As soon as you reach the start of the race, you can click A to boost however many times you want, however each time you do it, it will drain a portion of your energy bar. Depleting it all the way causes you to crash in brutal fashion, so you may not want to do that. And just like with the original F-Zero, you can get your energy back by driving over the very specific energy zone things on parts of the tracks. I like that you get even more control over when you boost, with each time you doing it draining a portion of the life that your car has. Another cool addition is the rival system. Each race assigns you 4 specific opponents, incentivizing you to take them out mid-race. Even if you don't know these players, just having that extra layer of competition adds a ton of depth. And honestly, it fits perfectly with the F-Zero universe, this futuristic world where high-speed death races serve as entertainment for the wealthy elite. It just makes sense that these racers would have very bitter rivalries. To go along with that, you can also perform a spin attack using the right trigger every few seconds, giving you yet another tool to outmaneuver your opponents. Outside of that main 99 mode, there is another tab which rotates between a few different modes and which is the best part of the game. For example, sometimes you'll get the Mini Prix or Grand Prix, which play out exactly how you would expect. These are multi-race tournaments where each round has increasingly strict placement requirements, like finishing in the top 80 and then the top 60 and so on. These races are so much fun, especially when you're barely scraping by to survive another round, which I can't relate to because I was getting like in the top 10 every time because I'm so good. That was a joke, I suck at this game. There is also the team battle mode, which separates 50 people across 5 different teams. Once again, it incorporates the previously previously mentioned mechanics to create a really enthralling match. And then we can't forget about the practice mode, which I actually did forget about because I never really used it. Just as it sounds, it lets you hone in on whichever track you want, with the catch being that you have to actually play on it in online in order to unlock the ability to practice on it. Beyond the racing itself, one of the biggest things that kept me hooked was the sheer amount of unlockables. The game features a full leveling system where you earn XP from races, and every time you level up, you unlock new customization options. These are things like decals for your machine, player emblems, and other designs to personalize your racer. I'm an absolute sucker for this kind of stuff, as long as it's not locked behind microtransactions, and here it's handled perfectly. There's a treasure trove of unlockables that can keep you coming back, giving you a real sense of progression. And that's the gist of F-Zero 99. Honestly, I'm still shocked by how much I've enjoyed this game with my brief time with it. I think I just had it ingrained in my mind that the next F-Zero had to be some beautifully crisp, high-speed 3D racer, something in the vein of Fast RMX or Wipeout. So when the first F-Zero game in 20 years wasn't that, I stubbornly brushed it off without giving it a fair shot. I'll admit, I was wrong. I should have judged this game for what it was, not what I wanted it to be. Because in reality, I've been missing out on so much fun over the past year, and that's a shame. Anyway, F-Zero 99 is an absolute blast, and if you have not tried it out yet, I would highly recommend giving it a shot. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace out.